Well, sign of the times, folks. Sign of the times. I just had somebody try to stunt on me for only buying 1 gallon of gasoline at a time. 86 regular. This little shit comes up and makes sure to point out that his Nissan Altima I don't even know how to word this. His Nissan Altima gets such great gas mileage that he doesn't have to worry about the gas prices. And as a matter of fact, he pushed it one step further and said, yeah, because this is a performance vehicle, you got to put the premium gas in it. And I told him that he didn't have to do that. And he's kind of just throwing away all that money that he could be saving to replace the VVT variable transmission that is going to break down in his Altima in about a year. I didn't have a problem with any of this, but it was the way in which this little shit tried to stunt. Is that what the cool kids say nowadays? They try to floss their fleek on me, or however that goes. Flex, is that a flex? I did not perceive it as a flex. I perceived it as a profound stupidity. I just can't believe that we have descended so far down so quickly that last year people were flex flossing their iPhone 12 with 3 cameras. And this year people are like, fuck that. I'm not going to pay $1,000 for just one more extra camera. I gotta buy gas. And you see how stupid that sounds? People are stunting on the fact that they can afford the gasoline that less than a year ago was $1.83 a gallon. And I even sometimes put premium in my Jeep just for fun. I'm like, oh, cool. Yeah, maybe, might get 2 or 3 extra miles per gallon. I could afford it. Premium's only $1.97. No, we got kids rolling around fleek flossing on the fact that they can afford $5 a gallon gasoline and still have the gall and nerve to say it wasn't my politician that made gas prices so expensive. It was the outgoing administration. It wasn't this old guy who literally has nothing to do with setting gas prices at all. You want to talk about the pipeline in Texas, New Mexico? Let's talk about the pipeline from Saudi Arabia to I forgot where it leads to. Through Azerbaijan, some shit, I don't know. Let's talk about that pipeline. Let's talk about the petrodollar. Let's talk about Aramco. Let's talk about who really got us in this mess. It wasn't Trump. It wasn't a Biden. Matter of fact, it wasn't even a president. It was a prime minister from a little place called... Isn't that a dirty word? I can't say that online, can I? The flailing British Empire under Sir Winston Churchill. And his little Arabian I don't want to call him his pet either, because I think that Lawrence of Arabia accomplished far more astounding feats than Winston Churchill ever did. And don't get me wrong, I like Winston Churchill. He's a real enigma. But there comes a point to where you gotta stop defending the reputation of a long, far, and past empire and start to deal with reality a little bit more. And nowhere else is this more clear than the Dardanelles and the Dardanelles campaign during World War I. I'm not sure if really a lot of people really know this, but yeah, he kind of was directly responsible for a lot of Indians starving to death. So he can continue his imaginary borderland expansion and long gone notions of a once again great British Empire. I'm not really sure if a lot of you are aware of what happened in the Dardanelles campaign, in which Churchill decided it was a good idea to open up another front down in the very, very profitable and oil-rich and we'll say limited infrastructure to be able to properly defend oneself against an invading empire. I could be wrong about these numbers, but I'm pretty well versed in these matters of warfare and stratagem. And Dardanelles made zero fucking sense whatsoever, especially whenever you consider the upwards of, I think it's 4 million Indians that starved to death because Winston Churchill rerouted very little food the Indian people had under the British Empire and redirected it towards the expeditionary force to pretty much get their asses handed to them in the Dardanelles. They lost ships, they lost a lot of men, they lost a lot of time. And really the only thing that was accomplished during all of that was the drawing out of, I'm just going to say, a pipe dream to further encompass the world in its grasp of domination, world domination. I don't know if you could tell, but they're still trying to do this shit. Boris, I'm talking to you, Boris. And again, I had really high hopes for Boris as well as I did Trump. Turns out a lot of these things that these so-called governments really take a stand behind, you know, that being, let's say, the happiness and the freedom of its constituents, its population, its people. They sure do go off and get us killed a lot, in financial ruin. In some cases, even having to duel unarmed with a rhinoceros and or elephant. Yeah, true story. I played chicken against an elephant and a rhinoceros, and I lost both times. And mainly because they are way bigger in person than you might think. And I'm calling bullshit on Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. There's no way that he climbed out of a real rhinoceros. That's not realistic at all. Everyone knows that rhinoceroses lay eggs. And they're pretty much impenetrable. They're made out of like dinosaur stone. You know what I mean? But man, I sure do want to try a rhinoceros omelet. More than I want to try an elephant's peanuts. I'll tell you that. I'd rather have a rhinoceros omelet than an elephant peanut. I know that's a bold statement. Probably one that has never been uttered before, ever. And I'll just go ahead and chalk that one up into my big book of firsts that I've accomplished. Unfortunately, the only thing I have written down on that accomplishment list is the fact that I genuinely had to think for a second whether or not rhinoceroses gave birth or laid eggs. Just being honest. And then I had a real brain fart, and I was like, aren't elephants related to rhinoceros? So they both should be laying eggs, right? And then I remembered that's false, as I've seen Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, and that rhinoceros gave birth. And I have seen I haven't seen elephants give birth, but I have seen innocent elephant be electrocuted to death to prove a really rather trivial and fucking stupid point, if we're being honest. We all know Tesla was the man. We all know what you did to him. We all know you stole from him. We all know you made dirty something that was clean. And that is exactly what the lowercase g gods, for being honest, closer akin to gnats, lowercase g, or gnocchi pasta. We all know that's Italy's least favorite type of pasta, and I honestly don't even know why it's still around, to be honest. It can be good in, some minestrone soup, but I mean, we're at that point, like, just put some elbows in the minestrone. It doesn't need to be gnocchi. No, is it gnocchi? It's gnocchi, isn't it? If it's not, I've been pronouncing that wrong to a lot of really hardcore Italians for a long time. I apologize for that. They didn't correct me, though. They're probably scared of me. Oh, you don't go around here putting words in my man's mouth and correcting him and shit. Are Italian people considered Caucasian? Or are they considered Mediterranean? Or are they considered Italian? Because a certain group of people would have everyone else believe that all white people came down out of the Caucasus Mountains, when it was actually only a very, very, very small population of not white people who did that. As far as I am aware, most Anglo-Caucasian Caucasoids came from even further north than that. They came from a very dark, a very cold, a very hostile, a very relentless, a very not rich in food environment. I mean, they were, they had Freya up there worshiping with apples and stuff, so that kind of says how desperate their fruit and food situation was. What do you think, Lothbar, that these fucking things just grow on trees? Aye, but it's true. I heard in a land far away, mangoes grow on trees. And that was all it took. That's all it took to start the Great White Migration from the inhospitable north down to the rather relaxed and kind of fun and everything existing in abundance. I mean, if you're gonna say that it's a dry and arid and inhospitable desert, then you shouldn't have named it the Fertile Crescent, because now you're gonna have to explain that. And the Suez Canal, in which I was stranded for about a month, thanks to my haughty overweightness in the front. I was front heavy. I just sunk right in. There was no escaping this vat of, again, I'm not going to say quicksand. Quicksand doesn't exist. I will say an especially sticky variety of mud. But nah, I'm never referring to mud as quicksand again. That's ridiculous. And if we're being honest, everyone needs to hold themselves to that standard, and not just go around willy-nilly flex flossing the fact that they are so stupid and well off that they have to buy premium gasoline to make sure that their high performance, I wonder if he knows that now. Does he know that Nissan is in part the owner of Renault? And Renault is actually, I'm pretty sure they built that chassis and that motor. I could be wrong. But I do know that Nissan makes some silly decisions every now and then where they would take an absolute gem of a motor out and replace it with one that is absolutely dog shit. So yeah, you guys shouldn't have touched that 3.5. You shouldn't have touched it. Most definitely shouldn't have put turbos on it. You should have bored it out a little bit and gave it a little bit more horsepower to accompany that torque. But that's all hindsight now, isn't it? Nissan. Or should I say Datsun. The first rebranding of a once good product turned to dog shit. So we kind of see that they have a track record of doing that. I'm not talking shit on Nismo, as they are and have been throughout history a pretty dominant force on the racetrack. Man, you guys really lucked out whenever drifting got big, and everyone and their little Filipino homie went and got a 350Z to go drifting in. If that didn't happen, I don't know if Nissan or Renault would even continue to exist today. Someone knew what they were doing, though, because Renault continues to manufacture Formula 1 engines, as well as a couple other really high performance engines that strangely they don't place in any high performance trim line models. The French do some really weird stuff. Strange. But, who am I to say? Who am I to tell a global car manufacturer that they don't know what they're doing? Who am I to? It's kind of like the average American with the average IQ of, I think we're at 86 or 88 national average IQ. Yikes. When we have we'll call them a herd mentality built up that believes that all of the penalties and struggles and hardships that we are now dealing with was absolutely worth stealing the and and honestly shitting all over the sacred ballot box, in which having the ability to vote pretty much made up about half of those alleged so-called rights that they magically procured and gifted to the rest of us. I didn't even know that gays didn't have rights. I didn't know that. I had zero idea that gays had freedom to speak a very prideful language, the freedom to exercise their parades, the freedom to, like, if we're just being honest, a partnership is not a marriage. A partnership is a way to scam the IRS and the government that just bestowed upon you all those rights that you never had, allegedly. You have the right to buy guns. You have the right to pursue your own career, education. And yet somehow it's you guys who are lacking in rights. I don't know, guys. I don't know. You're gonna have to come up with a better excuse than that to get me to dress up in all these sparkly, bedazzled clothes and take pride in something that, I'm just gonna say it, historically, Homo sapien, no pun intended, we're probably kind of a little weirded out by the first alleged gay man. I wonder how that happened. I wonder if he was a caveman. I wonder. Well, that's obviously the new name of my new cartoon, the Gave Man. It's about the first ever gay man to originate out of Paleolithic. Like, I wonder how that scenario like popped up. Like, were the cave women, the cave gals, just also so ratchet and bougie that that they singled out one particular caveman and just made him do, like, you know, all the hunter-gatherer shit, and like he'd never allowed to go hunting, or he's always picking berries. I wonder how that lisp first popped in there. I am so fucking sick of this. You guys never let me go hunting. You give me this hides and clothes that are way too small for me. You forced me to go fetch all the water. I'm here today to tell you that I'm putting my foot down, and I'm going to go start my own village and or community, in which he was promptly met with a bunch of ridicule. Yeah, good luck. You and that one other weirdo that you talked into being this new fad gay thing, because you can't have kids. That's kind of an important part. Reproduction is an important part of building a village. And no, sir, no, there are no hormones that take away your pectoral muscles and replace them with mammaries. Mammary glands. Sorry. You're gonna have to deal with your abnormal amounts of high testosterone like the rest of us cavemen. Because you couldn't get yourself a cave girl is not my problem. That, to me, signifies evolution. That, and I'm sorry, a lot of you probably won't want to hear this, but I do believe... I don't believe that one is born gay. I do not believe that. I believe that one is born into a very traumatic and sick family structure, environment. Were probably sexually molested and grew up inheriting some of those traits, and for that my heart truly breaks for you. It really does. But that does not give you the right to go around forcing it on everybody else and their kids and their fucking dogs. Okay? Need I say much more about that? I honestly have a lot more to say about it if you want me to. No? Okay. You know, I'm going to say this. You know, the last people who had a pride parade were Nazis. That's it states it pretty clearly in the good book, the Bible, the collection of books written from all perspectives, from all different religions, races, yet all still culminating into this, you know, kind of guidelines to follow. And y'all are not only not adhering to some really rather easy rules and guidelines, you know, like pride, like chill the fuck out, man. Like, check yourself before you go and wreck yourself. Tell you these types of things for your own good. It's like one of my buddies, one of my old buddies. You know, he took great pride in being a really good liar and thief. I just wish he was around for me to ask him how that is working out for him now. Just a simple matter of perspective, I guess, you know. I buy a lock-picking set because I lose my keys all the time. A lot of you already know this. I looked at that as like a very useful, beneficial tool to aid me when I surely lose my keys again. I do not buy a lockpick set with the intention of, oh, well, shit, now I can go and steal shit from other people. I can penetrate and break through the lock that they put on their home to guard their possessions. I shouldn't even be talking about cavemen. I shouldn't even be talking about any of this. For being honest, my blood sugar is a little low and I'm kind of grumpy. And I thought I would really hate TikTok. You know, I thought I would be the old-fashioned grandpa on there, you know, telling kids. You put some clothes on before you go shaking your ass like that in front of people. But now I'm like, damn, those booty shorts are impactful. They have a special power around them. It reminded me of that Bill Hicks joke. Camera pans back and it's just a naked woman with her breast in her hand and it just says, drink Coke. Yes, I'm buying a lot and drinking a lot of Coca-Cola. No, I do not know the connection. More Snickers, more Coke. More Snickers, more Coke. Man, that's crazy. You think that was almost 30 years ago. Or was that? It was 30 years ago, wasn't it? Man. I don't know about you, but when I see a Wrigley's commercial, I'm not thinking about gum. Double your pleasure, double your fun. Yes, I'm buying these products. No, I do not know why. I forget which one that was on. Was that on Revelation? Or, is that Revelations? Revelation? Relentless. Was that Relentless or Revelations? That was Relentless, wasn't it? No, it was Revelations. I don't know. I'm just gonna have to rewatch this entire little box set. You're looking at me like that, all weird. Looking like M-Dog and shit. With your round, yellow tinted glasses. I gotta say, M-Dog, you're really moving up in the world, man. You no longer look like an absolute foreigner tourist in Jamaica smoking a joint for the first time. You're looking like an actual piehead. You are looking like a well-seasoned veteran to a bunch of shit that you can't remember anymore. Hey, I've been through the ringer. Yeah, like what? I don't quite remember. Because to be honest, I'll say it, and I'll say it now. You know, I was abusing Mary Jane, and you should never have to feel like you need to abuse Mary Jane, because Mary Jane is there to help. She's not there to be made illegal. She I can't say any of that stuff. Like, no, that is illegal. I can't say that. That's illegal. She was never meant to be portrayed as she was. The devil's lettuce. Well, turns out devil makes a pretty fucking wicked salad. Looking back on it now. Jazz cabbage. As if jazz was something bad. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. Flour over here makes people enjoy food, create music, be creative, ponder. If we're being honest, some real next level shit. I believe even the Pakistanis and the Indian dot all even can agree that the Kush variety of cannabis is of great importance to both of their cultures. And if we're being honest, DuPont really fucked that one up for a lot of people. But why do we need to cut down the entire forest whenever we can literally get harvest the same amount of end product using less acreage than we would a tree? No. Shut the fuck up. That's just a theory. We have to cut down all of these trees that take hundreds of years to grow because this devil's lettuce will make your African American friend want to go out and rape a white woman. You want that on your hands? No, I'm pretty sure I will never have that on my hands, and I'm pretty sure that it will be you all who have all that blood on your hands. Again, by being liars, deceivers, greedy pigs. Who would honestly make decisions like that and believe that they are for the benefit of not humanity, but their family. Definitely, it benefited them. Didn't really benefit the slaves that pretty much made your entire ridiculous existence possible. And in some cases still do. It's like people have forgotten, Black people weren't the only slaves throughout history. As a matter of fact, I'd be willing to wager that there have been more Anglo-Irish, Slavic, Asian Gallic, Frankish, French slaves, and there have been African Americans. That's probably not a popular opinion, but unfortunately, it's kind of has a basis in reality. Just saying. I do kind of want to address this as well. I don't really want to, but I probably shouldn't. Get myself in trouble with that. With that particular group of people of whom I have done nothing but speak well of and defend, and for being honest, I've learned a lot from that community. Yeah, I sure have. I have learned a lot about and from that community. Both good and bad things, you know? But the way that I was treated for merely writing a lyric about not being a Nazi, as a matter of fact, was labeled a racist, a bigot, a homophobe for one singular lyric that I wrote years ago. Never mind the volumes of shit that I have written and given away to others for free. Make no mention of that. Make no mention of that at all. But by all means, let's bring up, if we're even being honest, a 7-year-old funny joke about Nazis. It's like I wasn't making even any racial statements directed towards anyone. I was simply stating. Not even gonna say it, because if I say it, you guys will probably take away my fucking pension that never existed anyway. My retirement home that was usurped and burned to the ground. My sailboat that you assholes renamed to the anal fissure and sailed around all the gay hotspots, pretending to be me. I can't even get into some of the shit that was perpetrated against me, and I am the one who gets. I'm gonna cool it. You're right. I'm gonna cool my jets, Benny. I feel like if you don't have anything to say that which will defend me against some really abhorrent and shitty behavior. Where does one go from here? Ibiza, obviously, selling the 7 C's of sodomy. It's fucking horse shit, the way you guys operate. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna put it out there. I don't give a fuck who you are, who you think you are, where you came from, how much power you think you have, how important you think you are. Because once again, I measure a man's worth by his character and his words, his actions. Not by the color of his skin, but by the content of one's heart. Kind of puts all that other shit to bed too. You want to get a sex change operation after being born a male? You want to cut your dick off? Fine. Do it up. But don't go around on a fucking speaking tour saying that that's what all of our kids should do. You fucking hear me? You want to make a difference in these kids' lives? You write a book about your struggles. You don't start a drag queen family hour. To sexualize children. Pretty sure the Bernstein Bears were not intended to sexualize little children and have them second guessing whether or not the penis that is attached to their body should be there, or whether or not he should be taking hormones to grow. Again, not breasts, mammary glands. So you can not nurse your pet ferret, because if we're being honest, those tits can't produce milk. That dick you chopped off is half the battle. And to be quite honest, fuck you for saying that I am inconsiderate for wanting a transgender, once man, now Caitlyn Jenner, to divulge the fact that they used to be a fucking man before they go off and try to seduce you and suck on your cock. Again, Another hole in your story, your fallacy. You hate dicks so much you go around chopping them off and sucking on them? You're not a rabbi, number one. You are not any leader in my community, anyway. Yeah, I bet a lot of you are going to be surprised hearing some of this shit. It's about fucking time, because I do not believe that people responsible for a bunch of nonsense should be able to just get away with some of the shit that they have done without having to answer for it. Like nothing ever happened. I'm thinking back on it now, I realize now that me wording it like that probably makes it sound like I just nonstop get hit on by trannies all the time, which I do. That's part of it. That's why. Just because I used to be a man with a big old cock, it doesn't mean that I am anymore. I have a surgically reconstructed clitoris that was based on Pamela Anderson's. Do we want to talk about that? Do we want to go there? Do we want to talk about all the rights and limitations that are imposed upon you? Or have you forgotten that half of the world is violently opposed to that? So much so, women still can't drive vehicles. Yet I see you rolling around all prideful in your little Toyota Yaris every day of the week, driving. Have you guys forgotten that so I mean, it blows me away that you go around acting all oblivious to the fact that half of the world vehemently opposes that lifestyle, and for reasons that are way, way older than any reason you can come up with. Now again, I understand the trauma aspect behind all of this, and I do live my life with love at the forefront. That's why I have no problem you getting married and taking advantage of the tax breaks and shit that come with it, because honestly, I would too. Hey, Tone! Hey, will you marry me? Yeah, huge tax breaks. Yeah. I know, I don't know why either. Yeah, you're right, we already don't pay taxes, so that'd kind of be moot. Quit lying. You know you want to know what it feels like to be gay for a day. Now look, I gotta finish that whole thing off, because I do believe that you are a human being, a free human being, to do as you wish. If that means loving another man, if that means taking sexual pleasure from an area of the body in which I usually find quite gross, hairy, and devoted towards disposal of waste. Cool, man. Cool. But don't come around me asking shit like that to me or any child around me, any nephew of mine, any niece. Because if I see you coming around reading Curious George to my nephew, telling him why it's okay to go opposed to, I mean, if you just take a step back and look at it, a pretty simplistic and very intelligently designed reproductive system. Oh, is it? Is the sexualization of children that old and withstanding in throughout history? No, it's not, actually. You have a few fucking weirdos like Caligula. You have some extreme rare instances and cases in which large armies of men are separated from females through means of warfare and all kinds of reasons. Why? I got no problem with another male who weirdly finds attractive a shield brethren, so much to the point to where they do the deed. Because I'm pretty sure to the rest of us that is just called camaraderie and a brotherhood, a shared suffering that is to be dealt with and not appeased and indulged. And I think to myself, man, I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for this. But then I remember I have some certain protections to say whatever the fuck I want, as long as it is spoken from a place of truth, not just a version of someone's truth. I'm talking about a fundamental point of speaking truth, not propaganda, not psychological warfare, not another Operation Mindfuck, not another deception on top of another deception, but a simple and wholehearted truth. Oh, your truth isn't my truth. Well, then you're calling some shit that's not truth. That's why comedy is so important. If you take away the comedian's right to make fun of you, you haven't thought this out very far ahead, have you? What do you think is going to come after the banning of that? I don't know. It probably has something to do with a mob, a violent mob, or violence of some sort. Because the comedian who is offending you so greatly right now is actually defending you from a rather large portion of the population who really wouldn't think twice about it. And these are the people that you attack. Well, who gave you the right to say what's true and what's not? God did, actually. What gave you the authority to walk around imposing your own traumas on innocent people to get them to tolerate that kind of behavior? I'm sorry you grew up in a trauma family. But guess what, motherfucker? These last two entire generations have been born in trauma, okay? Not all trauma is sexual. Not all trauma has that effect on people. But you know what does have an effect on people, especially young, still ignorant and naive to a lot of things in this world? It's talking to a child like he's your lover, and why it's okay to grow up and be just like you, to continue the cycle of trauma bonding is really what it is. You are trauma bonding with an innocent child who has not incurred and experienced that trauma. What do you think you are doing? You are traumatizing that poor kid. Where is that? I don't remember his name even anymore. Dylan or whatever, that the gay transgender little 8-year-old on Dr. Phil. Where is he at now? And if you tell me anything other than the truth, which is in multiple drug rehabs, in therapy, confused as to whether or not what he was taught growing up is what he now believes as a now young man, no longer a child. Let's talk about who is inflicting trauma on who here. Because I remember when I was that kid's age, I didn't know whether or not I liked golden or chocolate Labrador retrievers better. than a golden. I didn't know that I could crank start my little pecker and get it going. I had no idea. I was not concerned. I was not burdened with any of that information. I did figure it out, however, when I started making that transition in puberty. And wow, was it like night and day. I went from being a dog whisperer to an absolute horn dog, which again, you're not finding me reading Cinderella to a little girl in hopes of securing a mate. Fucking Looney Tunes. I'm not even going to call myself a horn dog. As a matter of fact, I am very respectful and I am a gentleman. And I treat women with utmost respect because, let's be honest, I love women. I'm not going to front like I'm not in love with women. I will, however, snap back at you for calling me a monster, for saying that sexualizing children is a spot where I draw the line. Where I am the monster and not the one who is committing the sexual abuse on a child much smaller, much easier to manipulate and influence. When I was 8, you could have offered me a Mr. Pibb and I would have went over to your house and hung out with you for a little while. When I started to become a man, I looked back on a lot of that shit and was like, wow, I am very lucky that I was not kidnapped, held hostage, raped, maybe I am. Maybe I'm going a little too hard on some of you. But some of you really need to get hit really hard. Because you are starting to influence those of us who remain innocent in their naivety. Whatever. Naivety. Why would you defend this little child, this 8-year-old gay child, but will not lift a finger for all of the young women who are shot in a cannon right into the Me Too movement, the sexual abuse, the everything that comes with it, the casting couch, all that. Why would you think it's okay to send a young woman through all of that and have it remain all the same to send a young child through all of that? Your priorities are fucked up, man. Men. I hope you all do realize that that is exactly where this behavior is heading towards. Is heading towards the sexualization of children. Make it okay to be sexually, not only okay, but your right to be sexually attracted to a child who doesn't even know how to make a bowl of cereal for himself yet, you know? And you're teaching these poor kids about the dangers of sexually transmitted diseases, HIV, AIDS, like it's just something that he's gonna have to deal with on a daily basis. I understand I am grumpy. But I am using such a vocabulary in such a way that really, if you want to come at me in some of the ways that I have been approached by some of these people, it really will have zero desired effect on me, because that is kind of where I am at nowadays in my life. You see, I also have been traumatized. I also have had egregious attacks. Thrown at me, I still do, constantly. But you see where there can be a silver lining to some traumas. That's one of them. You see, you're no longer affected by those who seek to injure you, to hurt you, to lower you down to their level, their low frequency level vibration of hate, vitriol, cattiness. Because I simply just will no longer register you as even something that I perceive to be even real in this reality. That is one of the perks of dealing with pretty much constant trauma through your entire life. You learn which hills to die on, and you learn which hills just fucking suck, and you just don't need to go there anymore, ever. You no longer need to entertain the, if we're being honest, quite batshit Looney Tune I'm pretty sure, I know that they did this for a fact. Made the month of my own birth Pride Month. Something in which I have always associated the month of June to be summer time, and the living is easy. Now it's being associated with that. Can I ask you guys, what about the people that do not wish to be associated with any form of pride or parade, for that matter? I don't like parades. I think they are a waste of resources, an obstacle deliberately placed in areas which were designed to make the flow of traffic flow smoothly. You guys not see this, that you are making people late for work. You are, for what? For what? I'm asking you this. For what? How in the fuck conspiracy theorists and truthers and people who have been trying to right really big wrongs in the past are shunned, completely ignored, totally thought of as subspecies. They are now thought of as a sub category of people. What is their crime? Justice? Wanting to see justice? And now you are treating these very same people how you claim to be purportedly treated on a daily basis. Like, oh my god, I ordered a venti and he only gave me a small. I know it's because I'm gay. It's because I'm gay. It's shit like that. How can you accuse somebody of discriminating you, of being gay, when I don't even know what the fuck gay is? Because up until about 5th or 6th grade, I thought that gay just meant like happy, and queer meant different. It didn't mean what you want it to mean. It never carried such negative connotations until you came around and started attaching negative connotations to it. I used to really enjoy drawing rainbows growing up. I still do, but now I feel like there is a stigma attached to whether or not I can draw a fucking rainbow or not. So let's talk about rights being removed and given. Where's my right to draw a rainbow? Why are young gay kids wearing Pink Floyd shirts with the 7 spectrums of color on their shirt when they've never heard a Pink Floyd song in their life, but they associate those 7 colors as a point of pride? Now that I got that out there, I'm gonna go make a couple finger sandwiches and raise my blood level, my blood sugar level up, so I don't start yelling at the next group of people who were led to believe that their uniqueness was actually not a strength in our diversity, but a weakness in everyone else's. Who's next? That's all I got, and that's all I'm wondering. Who's next? Is it going to be all the police officers, firefighters, doctors, gulags, growers, agriculturists, people that grow the food that you eat? The people that haven't said a word during all of this because they are afraid that if they even utter a word that y'all have hijacked, be honest, y'all hijacked it, took it, and made it your own, turned it into something that it wasn't. An average person who can't afford to pay $5 in fucking gallon in gas can't speak freely around his workplace, otherwise he will be classified a racist, bigot, homophobe, and now no longer employable. Because I said that Nissan Altimas were gay. They are. You're not a vehicle. Again, hijacking shit. I've been saying shit is gay way longer than y'all have. And why do you get so offended at the word? You know the definition? You know the definition of the word gay? And queer. Let's just say queer too. Queer and gay. Now, you do? I don't think you do. Because neither of those words have ever had any negative connotation attached to it until you attached it. I'm not even saying don't do this or don't do that. People, be whoever you feel like you are on the inside. Okay, got that established? Do not go around imposing that rather queer and gay feeling that you have, that something may not be right. Do not go around imposing that on everyone else who is not struggling with that problem, much less our children. Now I'm done. Good morning. Have a good evening. For God's sake.